I think sometimes we get so sequestered in our offices with budgets and paperwork that we don't experience the experience that's occurring with Maine people, families, and businesses. And why I'm saying that is that yesterday we held a job summit. And, you know, when you think you know everything, you learn something new every single day. There were businesses there, about 70 businesses that we had pulled together. And we wanted an opportunity to showcase kind of the programs that we had going, and at the same time listen to what they were doing, what they were going through, and what we could do a better job of. And it was remarkable. I was sitting there with other business people, and they were saying, who are these people? They didn't even know who these other business people. One of the business people was a medical company that transcribes medical records, and they work for 38 out of the 39 hospitals. And they said, Governor, we're having a hard time finding people. Nobody wants to be a medical transcriber. Everybody would like to be a doctor or a nurse or a lab technician or involved in the healthcare profession in terms of delivery, but there's very few who are going into this field, and we don't have a training or education program. And here's a company who's looking to hire more people and be able to do business across the country. And I was remarking to John Lennon at MEMIC, who does a phenomenal job at MEMIC. John's got a program where he's taken how he does his Maine Employers Mutual Fund program, and he's doing it throughout the country, and he's going to bring those profits back to Maine and help reduce the premiums on employers. There are businesses in our state that are doing business across state jurisdictional lines, and they're trying to do more of that so they bring more of the jobs and money into our state. And I think that's something as governor and as a citizen of the state that we need to be reminded of and to talk about more often, because there are tough times and there are layoffs and there are difficulties, but at the same time there's opportunities. And I think when I became governor, it was in a very tough time. It was in 2003. We were in a recession. They had $1 billion structural gap, and they had taken a loan out of $250 million because they ran out of tax revenues and credit warnings on the state's bond rating. But I said to people, because I'd grown up on the House Ag Committee in Washington when I was a member, and I had 2 offices in Aroostook County, and you have to appreciate the people in Aroostook County. They are the best people. And I'd say that to them, and they say, oh, you're just being political. And I say, no, I'm saying it, I'm not running for anything, but I'm telling you the truth, because it seems like it starts up in the St. John Valley and in northern Aroostook throughout the whole county and just sort of streams down throughout the entire state. And they said to me, Governor, he said, if we aren't at the bottom, you can at least see it from where you're standing. You know, and I think it's that kind of humor and that kind of way about people of Maine that we just shrug our shoulders, we roll up our sleeves, and we work a little bit harder. I think during these last 7 years, when people look back, they'll see that there's actually been a lot of changes that have taken place, because we couldn't do these changes if the times weren't as difficult as they are. People are at least more understanding that we're going to have to change the way we have school administrative districts. People are going to have to understand that we're going to have to change the way individual county jails and their administration are being operated on. People are going to have to understand that we can't run our natural resource agencies in 4 separate silos. We're going to have to begin looking at things differently, like all of you in the business community have had to do for years. We have to do that because we can't raise taxes and we can't cut off the most vulnerable in our society. So we're now being forced, because I think that's the only way we're going to make the changes that are necessary to create an infrastructure and a foundation so that the next governor can take the torch and run with it. They shouldn't have to worry about making all these changes in restructuring and consolidation. We should get that done, because we should have that person unbridled by any restrictions and being able to kind of race to getting more jobs and more economic development happening in our state. That's what we're positioning for, because we are going to come out of this recession, and we're going to hit the ground running because of the foundation that we've laid. We're going to be more efficient. We're going to make sure that we have the vital safety net for services for our people. At the same time, we want our people to know that here is the state where we can provide opportunity for their growth and prosperity. That's what the plan is all about. And that's what we've been working on towards. And that's why energy is so critical. I am just sick and tired of having to import foreign oil to being subservient to OPEC or oil-producing nations for our own country and our national security and our own economy. To be in that kind of posture is no place for the United States of America. We have tremendous natural resources in our state. We have a terrific location. As the real estate people tell me, it's all about location. We're in a terrific place. We have an opportunity that happens once in a lifetime to take advantage of it. And what is the advantages to it? It's being able to produce renewable domestic power here, to be able to advantage our businesses like we did in the old days when we had hydroelectric along the rivers and factories attached to them employing thousands of people because we had cheap, local, affordable power. We were able to power our economy. We have the same opportunity now with onshore and offshore wind. We have the same opportunity with wood. We have 19 million acres of woods. We have a biomass field that's as big as Saudi Arabia is with its oil. We have that opportunity. We have solar. We have tidal. We have the natural resource, natural world of Disneyland in our state. So we have the opportunity. We have the technology at the University of Maine. They've gotten recognized by the Department of Energy and by the federal administration. $25 million in federal grants. We've got over 25 businesses, the Ivy League of Maine businesses that are working with the University of Maine in a consortium to be able to develop this exciting initiative, which has the potential for billions of dollars of investment and thousands of jobs being able to be created in energy. And not just energy and renewable energy, but energy efficiency. We have opportunities to put people to work in weatherization and conservation. We have some of the oldest housing stock in the country that was built before there were energy standards, and we're most oil-dependent state in the country for oil heat. We have an opportunity to save energy with very few dollars, to put people who are licensed contractors, auditors, to work, to recognize an economic opportunity there. So we have in this field of energy some real I think, future opportunities for our people to have employment here in the state of Maine.